Right, Spike from Wavescape here with your surf report for Thursday the 15th of September until around Tuesday next week. We've got a few systems in place over the next few days, one of which is a huge storm off Brazil, a big storm about to club Cape Town, bringing lots of rain to the southwestern Cape, cut off low conditions that spread all the way up the east coast, bringing lots of rain and a lot of east swell expected over the next few days on the east coast. We're looking at the storm surf wind chart and we're seeing a very large storm off South America. There you can see a big high pressure system around here. Glassy conditions early Thursday with the northeast calming down up the east coast as well as it moves away. That high pressure cell moves away. And there's the storm approaching Cape Town. Northwesterly winds puffing by Thursday afternoon already. No rain yet. And then by Friday early hours the winds start to hit actually in the upper parts of the Western Cape and Northern Cape. And there the wind arrives robust and moving east up the east coast on Saturday. And by Saturday you can see the winds are calming down southerlies to southeasterlies in Cape Town. Okay, so if we now look at the Atlantic sea height, you're going to see a huge big storm swell building up over here. I'm going to just whiz through this quickly. And then you see that big batch of storm swell in the far west, and then that batch of more localized storm swell approaching and arriving on Friday, only arriving in Cape Town more on Friday afternoon, but up the coast. In fact, in the southern Namibia, it's hitting quite hard, 14, 15 feet or bigger. And then there it goes. Lots of east swell, as you can see, off the east coast, caused by that high pressure cell over there. And then if we move into Saturday, lots of swell around, dying, lots of southwesterly swell, 4, 5 foot maybe, not too much bigger. So if we look at the period, and what's interesting is just look out for what happens in that storm around South America. Fascinating. It's like a pebble in the middle of a giant pond with the ripple effect dispersing in a radial arc in all directions. As we move into Wednesday night, we're looking at that storm, seeing the swells ebbing away, now swell in Madagascar. And then to the west, very interesting circular system there, swell basically spewing out in all directions. Now come Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning, you can see that little wedge of swell created by that wind. And there it really peaks on Friday afternoon up the west coast and also big in Cape Town. But coming obviously with a lot of wind, which we'll show you on the localized wind forecast. Lots of swell hitting the Western Cape and parts of the Eastern Cape as well. So it's going to be very west swell and probably with super long lulls. And the interesting thing is it seems to arrive in two fronts. So the first front arrives at around about 8 to 10 a.m. on Monday morning. And then the second front, in other words, the second component of the swell coming from later on in the storm, and that's arriving on Tuesday at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning. So lots of swell due for the Cape and West Coast areas next to a lot of west swell. And of course, before we move on, look at what's going on out in the Pacific Ocean. Crazy stuff, purple. Looking at 22-second swell. Really crazy stuff, maybe even 23 seconds, which is pretty much the maximum that you can get in terms of wave period. So if we look at the wind, surface wind chart, okay, from first weather, you've got that big high off the east coast, coastal lows around in the Western Cape and parts of the Eastern Cape, glassy by Thursday morning, lekker calm, and then that storm's approaching, and it goes fresh northwesterly by Thursday afternoon, although calm up the east coast. And in fact, the big storm you can see now easing into the picture from the west there, coming from South America, and then there's this high pressure system that's wonking this low pressure into strong southerly winds, and of course the meat or the nugget of the wind fetch is this little area just to the west of the eye of this fairly weak low pressure system. It's only 101 millibars, but it's going to create lots of swell. The wind is being gradient is coming from the way that's quite strong high pressure system is ridging in behind it, and then it hits. And the wind is reaching Cape Town by Friday morning, but it's glassy, patches of glassiness actually. It's almost like that's the eye of the storm moves over Cape Town, and then the wind arrives sometime in the late morning or so, and it's windy. And of course there's now strong busters moving up the east coast, and it's all very volatile and winds and lots of rain, as I'll show you just now. And there comes the big storm in the west there and behind the high, and then it gets forced south. Plenty of east swell can be expected in the KZN area, especially from Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, and especially on Monday. Blank swell, lots of swell. Very close to the conveyor belt there. So if we're looking at the surface winds, big northeast blowing, obviously there it is, and then it glasses off. There comes that big storm Thursday night into Friday. A little bit of a buster comes through Cape Town by the looks of things in the early hours, and then it goes calm while this low pressure is here, kind of a double frontal system, and it smacks into the west coast and also busts up the east coast Friday evening. And then, as I'll show you, there's going to be lots of rain, kind of almost cut off low kind of conditions. And then a southeaster comes through in Cape Town by Saturday night, fresh to strong, but then easing into Sunday where it goes glassy by Sunday afternoon. And there you're looking at those strong east to southeast winds pointing at Durban and the north coast as well. So lots of swell. So just to finish off with the rainfall, this is very interesting, okay? So basically there is already rain around the KZN side, Pietermaritzburg and Durban and so on, into Thursday, easing off by Thursday morning. And then no rain around the country until basically Friday in the early hours. There comes that big frontal system. There comes that southerly wind, and you can see that the rain is actually almost following the exact path of the actual winds in the storm. And then by Friday morning, you're looking at strong rains all over the southwestern Cape. This spreads eastwards towards George and the eastern Cape, still raining hard on Friday afternoon. Some rain inland, much welcome rain. And then by 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, still raining, hard rains in the Western Cape area, St. Francis, PE side. And then the rain reaches up into the upper reaches of the Eastern Cape. Rains quite hard East London side. And then, of course, it moves into the KZN area by Saturday night. Lots of big rain inland as well. Big rain Durban on Sunday morning. Big rain in Wild Coast Sunday morning. Big rain on the Wild Coast again on Sunday afternoon. And then more rain South Coast Durban, KZN, Monday morning, Monday afternoon, and then by Monday night, finally the rain abates and things start to calm down. Anyway, that was a long waffle. I hope you found it useful. Thanks very much. Cheers.